Well, we're always so thrilled when we can highlight local authors doing incredibly well here in Christchurch, and Lila Richards is no exception. Welcome to Good Living, Lila. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Very exciting, I guess, to have it's not your first book that you've written, but your first published novel here too.
It is, very.
Is it a hard road to get a novel published these days?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There are so many people wanting to be published. Yeah.
How did you go about it? What did you do?
Well, I wrote letters, as you do.
Off your...
and I wrote lots and lots of them, but it actually happened more by accident. There's an online writing group that I'm on, and I had approached a publisher overseas, and they'd said, well, if I cut it down to 90,000 words, they'd look at it. And I couldn't quite see how that could be done, being the author. So I put a message on this group and said, could anyone help me? And the lady who contacted me is, in fact, one of the directors of this publishing firm, Bluewood.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And it just went from there? Okay.
Yes.
And here it is here.
Indeed.
Now, it's called A Different Kind of Hunger, and I guess, Lila, it really does indulge your love of this era that you've written it in. So tell me a little bit about the story.
Okay, it's set in the Victorian era and starts in England, where the hero, in inverted commas, Rufus de Hunt, who's the youngest son of an English nobleman, gets himself involved in a love affair that turns out rather badly, and unknown to him, the woman's married, and her husband challenges him to a duel, which is strictly illegal, or had been for a long time by Victorian times, but he insists. Well, Rufus's father finds out and can do without the scandal, thank you very much. So he packs him off to New Zealand to be a remittance man. I gather that actually happened surprisingly often, not always to New Zealand, but to the colonies.
Somewhere far, far away.
Yes, exactly, where they can't, be any more trouble to you. And on the way there, on the boat, he meets Serafina Radzinskaya, who is, it turns out, a vampire, and as is the older man that she's travelling with, who's kind of her guardian. In fact, he's her maker. He's the one who made her a vampire. And before Rufus knows it, he's madly in love with her, even after he realises that she's a vampire. So he's very torn, because part of him is absolutely horrified and part of him still loves her. And then he gets badly beaten up by another passenger and left for dead, basically, left out on deck all night, and contracts pneumonia, and he's obviously dying. I mean, back then they didn't have especially on a ship, the
no, of course.
medical facilities were fairly rudimentary. And Serafina, who's in love with him too and doesn't want to lose him, turns him into a vampire, which... without asking, well, she sort of asks him, but...
As only vampires can. So tell me, Lila, what was the inspiration behind this book? Because it just sounds intriguing.
Well, for some reason, I've for a long time had a fascination with vampires. To me, they seem like sort of the ultimate outsiders. They're kind of human, but kind of not. And the one thing they need for their sustenance involves drinking human blood, which obviously makes them really evil in the eyes of humans. But I wanted to look at things a bit more from their perspective.
Which is, but really good idea.
Well, there are a lot of books and films where you've got the evil monster vampires and the good humans tracking them and killing them. But I thought, well, what would it be like if there really were vampires? What would it be like for them? Because they've kind of got to be part of society, and yet they're not.
It's a very fine line, isn't it?
Exactly.
You need to read this to find out more about this really intriguing story. Lila Richards, thank you very much. Now, it is available. There's a couple of different ways that you can get this. Bluewood Publishing, if they go online, order it through there, or also Whitcour's online, you can order it through there, and Amazon too. So buy it, a great Christmas gift, and support our fabulous local authors. Lila Richards, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.